be careful. Some gongs you can't unring. I never say this about books, but in case forgot that wasn't the first book. Chapter 1. My best friend is a cat spirit. The day my life change began, like most mornings, with a judgmental cat spirit. That t-shirt makes you look like an eggplant, Mev said. Despite being a tiny black kitten, he had a lot of opinions. He sat on my dresser, his round eyes watching me get ready for summer school. Most people would agree that having a talking cat spirit for our best friend is pretty strange, but for as long as I can remember, I've seen spirits. Not in a creepy way, although sometimes in a creepy way. More on that later. But in a normal, hey, spirits exist. And also can I borrow some peanut butter kind of way. Well, except for the part where no one else can see them but me. I told my mom about Mev. When I was 5, I couldn't see him. She couldn't see him. So she assumed I made him up. She humored me, patting my head and then saying to the seemingly empty space beside me, "Aren't you a pretty kitty?" Mev had glared at her from his spot on the kitchen counter. "If she even thinks about getting you a real cat, I'll make sure all her rice go bad." Today I ignored Miv's criticism as usual. I soothed down the hem of my shirt. Then, it was the color of eggplant. But I like it. Then I fished out my favorite purple hair clip from the Star Wars tin beside my bed and secured it at my right temple. Can you not? Just above my ear. Remember what I told you yesterday morning. She's being a distraction. Remember what I told you yesterday morning. Ramen gives you ramen gives you it. Okay. Whatever. Miv said aggressions. I don't know. Mev said as he jumped onto my pulled bed, leaving a ghostly trail of smoke in his wake. wake. No, for the record, I didn't say that. Pokemon scares you. Okay? Well, or that I threw a sock at him. Stop watching you sleep. I paused in the middle of wadding up another sock. Do you watch me sleep? His yellow eyes glowed faintly. Let that question haunt you for the rest of your day. No need. You already haunt me. Actually, Mev wasn't like human spirits who are tethered to a specific place or thing. He came and went whenever he wanted. I tossed the wadded sock into the district zone that was my closet. I told you that I don't take fashion advice from cat spirits. I have a bookmark. The look he gave me held a level of disdain only possible in cats. Clearly. I rolled my eyes and then spotted the time on my alarm clock. If I didn't hurry, I would be late for school. My mom made my brother and me take classes every summer because she likes keeping us busy instead of having us sit around all day or whatever. Also, it was free. With a jolt of panic, I rushed up from my bedroom and then nearly ran into my mom coming out from the kitchen. She held 2 shallow saucers of uncooked rice in each hand. Whoa, careful, Pamela, she warned. She lifted the saucers over her head and as I ducked beneath her arms. She was dressed in jeans and the blue smock she wore at her factory job. Her long black hair was tied back into a tight ponytail. Sorry, Mom. I grabbed a granola bar from the kitchen cabinet. A third saucer of rice sat on the counter. I moved it to the back of the stove. Good morning, squeaked a voice, a spirit shaped like a plump little man climbed out from the nearest electrical burner. Dab Guvkatusko, or a spirit of the stove. Had red hair that moved like a candle flame, and a full beard that flickered and sparked when he talked. He barreled into offered of what rice and heard the offerings of rice. The hard grains browning from the heat of his beard. In the dining room, which was just a corner where my mom kept a square table, sat my brother Matt. He was slurping down a bowl of cornflakes. His mussed black hair in need of a comb. He was small for a 7-year-old, with two big brown, dark brown eyes. Eat fast, I called over the narrow counter that divided the kitchen from the dining room. Then to Mom, still on for tonight? Sorry, honey, something came up. She went over to the rubber floor mat where we set our shoes and placed an offering of rice to the spirit of the front door. I don't mean to disrespect, I just don't know how to say it. The last offering went on the family altar for Tab Exam Cab. The 3 guardian house spirits watched over our apartment. I guess that technically made them apartment spirits, not house spirits, but that doesn't sound cool. Like a shaman thing? I asked. Shamans, like my aunts, are spiritual leaders from the Hmong community. Growing up with a shaman for a sister helped my mom pick up enough knowledge to be able to perform minor rituals like house blessings and simple diversions, divintions of people in need. But we live far away from other Hmong families, which meant a long commute and ditch plans for us. When she did, tonight was supposed to be our first Friday movie night of the summer. Even though it was nearly July already, I plastered on a smile before my mom could see my disappointment, though it wasn't her fault. She had to cancel. It wasn't her fault she had to cancel. Mev paddled into the kitchen and jumped onto the stove beside me. He circled the saucer of rice grains and the routine of teen little stove spirit. What do you think of her shirt? The cat asked with a glance in my direction. Reminds you of an eggplant, right? Wear black or red, the stove spirit suggests as his crackling in his crackly voice, like ambers or ash. In real wood's burning stove. Back when meals were a scared time, I missed the smell of scorched bones. This was why I didn't seek out the spirit's opinion on my wardrobe choices. I rather look like a vegetable than a burning skeleton. Oh, like a burnt skeleton. I have to help a family consult their ancestors about buying a farm, my mom said. Do dead relatives give good business advice? I asked. She smiled, but her tone was chill. Chiding? Don't joke. The spirits will be offended. Whatever would we do then? Mev said, watching the stove spirit roll around in the rice some more. I mostly laughed. But my mom was right. All spirits, even good ones, like house spirits, have dual nature. They protect their house and bring good luck, but they can just as easily turn on you if they feel they aren't being properly honored. Harsh, right? My mom lit a stick of incense and placed it all around the rice offerings on the altar. Hidden between two sheets, a shiny jossed paper, the small altar spirit stirred. Mom didn't notice. She couldn't sense or see spirits. She just interpreted their message through tools like bells and horns. Real shamans can communicate with spirits through ritual and trances, but I wasn't sure how it worked. The only shaman I knew was my aunt Kayla, who my mom didn't get along with. The last time I'd seen her was 2 years ago, during Christmas lunch. and she hadn't given any indentation that she noticed Mev pretending to draw pretending to drown in the gravy bowl. I'll be home late. Love you both. Mom grabbed her lunchbox from the table, pausing just long enough to kiss Matt's temple. I think he tried to say goodbye, Mom, but when he opened his mouth, chewed up cereal dropped into the bowl. Little brothers can be so disgusting. She blew out the door just as Matt leapt from his chair and announced, "Done!" After shoving the last of the granola bar into my mouth, I was already slipping on my sandals by the front door. And a hissing sound came from one of my mom's sneakers. A second later, the door spirits slithered out. She was a small green snake, with black markings around her eyes that made her look like she wore tiny glasses. You look splendidly in purple," she said. I flashed a triumphant smile at Mev, who only turned his head, nose tipped into the air as he disappeared out the door ahead of us. Outside our apartment building, hedges that had once been square and were now swamp thing blobs lined the sidewalk. The neighborhood was mostly other dabbed brown bricks building apartments with yellow lawns and trees strung with old Christmas lights. The school sat a few blocks down the road, past an open field that led into the woods at the edge of the town. My mom had moved us here 3 years ago, after my dad left us. A whole parade of gossiping aunties kept showing up and asking 2 personal questions and bullied her about being a single mom. I always got sent to my room, but that didn't stop me from overhearing things that made me wish I could breathe fire or turn them all into frogs. Matt and I hadn't gone far from our apartment when a half dozen mushroom spirits emerged from beneath the hedge. They were each about the size of my fist, with stubby limbs and oversized mushroom caps. Why can't I say heads? Mushroom cap heads that made them look like mini Funko Pops. Nev flicked his tail and trotted faster, but I waved at the little spirit started ahead alongside us. I waved as the little spirit started alongside us. Matt couldn't see them, but he was used to me waving at empty air. He chalked it up to my imagination. Usually he played along. He was only 4 when we moved, so he didn't know that even with the Hungmung immunity, being able to see spirits or just talking to seemingly no one was still considered freaky, unless you were a shaman. In fact, from what I've been able to gather, seeing and interpreting with and interacting with all kinds of spirits the way I could isn't typical, even for shamans. The troops have arrived, I said to Matt, gesturing to the invisible mushroom spirits. Are you ready to return to the war front? He grinned. Yes, sir. Ready, set, march. He began, pumping his short arms and legs a little too if there is oh my god. I know the word. My brain's just messed up. Enthusiastically, so that instead of marching, he looked more like a climbing monkey. I followed him, pretending I was a general leading my brave little mushroom soldiers into battle. You were heading into the war zone. That was the classroom. That was a classroom crammed with hostile, stirred 6-year-old. Hostile, stir-crazed 6th graders. Fun fact about me? Fun fact number 1 about me. I like to pretend to be something more exciting than an 11-year-old who spends all her time babysitting her little brother and talking to invisible spirits. Some would say I'm too old for imaginary games, but some people also like olives, so folks can be just plain wrong. Can I pick the movie tonight? Matt asked. Since it'll just be us. He didn't sound disappointed. Probably because he was used to it. The reminder that Mom was skipping out on our movie night, though, made my nose wrinkle. When Matt caught my eye, I quickly smiled and nodded. Anything but Spirited Away. Aw, but I love that movie. I do too, but it scares you. You always cry. That's what makes it cool. Matt laughed and started flapping his arms and hopping up and down, pretending to be the witch. He was ridiculous. What kind of 7-year-old liked being scared? I've always hated the feeling. I always hated that feeling. I couldn't even do those cheesy haunted houses around Halloween. It didn't take us long enough to reach the school. Myrtle Elementary School, and elementary looked like it belonged in another time period. The bricks were red and climbing with a rusty and crammy. A rusty flagpole stood out front. A handful of cars were lined up along the curb to drop off sailing-looking kids who'd rather be anywhere else. I walked Matt to his entrance. Before leaving, he planted a sloppy kiss on my cheek and said, I want ramen for lunch later. Yeah. I used up his hair, laughing before he smacked my hand away. Hurry up, you'll be late. I waved as Matt went inside and then continued to the there's a dog barking outside. Wind spirits sent a sharp gust to tip over the mushrooms. Spirits still trailing behind after me. This apparently inspired Mev, who flicked a mushroom with his tiny black paws. The small spirits was too top-heavy that they flopped us upside down and could only rock back and forth on the speckled red cap of their heads, flailing their tiny arms and legs. Mev grinned in satisfaction as the other mushroom spirits rushed to help their friend. "Stop that," I whispered loudly. "Who is she talking to?" a kid mumbled behind me. "Weirdo," another boy said, laughing. My face went hot, but I pretended I hadn't heard. Although I'm not able to tell people the truth about me, I'm not always good with hiding it either. I'm not good at hiding it either. As you can imagine, that doesn't make me very popular, but being the only Asian kid in my grade already makes me an outcast, even though I'm surrounded by a world filled with spirits. Sometimes I can feel pretty lonely. Miv jumped onto my shoulder. "I should use his locker as a litter box." I smiled, but kept my gaze to my feet. "You'd think that with only morning classes, few kids, summer school would be easier to get through than regular school. But no, fewer kids just meant I stood out more. Yay me!" So I pretended I was an undercover spy. I had to complete operations. Complete operation beats the bell. By reaching my first class. I'm probably reading this all wrong. Operation beats the bell. By reaching my first class as quick and as quietly as possible without attracting the enemy attention. I made it to my seat near the window just as the bell rang. Someone had stuck flower decals onto the glass pane, but forgot to remove the plastic snowflakes. My mom had signed me up for 2 classes. The first intro to algebra made my brain feel like it slowly melted out of my ears. Math should be illegal during the summer. Anybody who attempts to assign math work should be punished by being the only one picked for every team. I've been that kid. It sucked. It sucks. I slouched low and tried to project my best. I'm a bush. Please ignore my energy. It's mostly worked, except for when Mev began peeling off the window decals. Some of my classmates glanced in my direction. I wasn't sure what people saw when spirits messed with the physical objects. Probably nothing too bizarre, because they didn't run screaming from the classroom. They only squinted a bit, their eyebrows pinched. I resisted the urge to throw my pencil at Mev's head and sunk lower in my desk. My second class, the symbiotic relationship of plants and insects, was down the hall, and I had to admit it wasn't all bad. On cool days, our teacher took us out to the flower bushes behind the baseball diamond to watch insects. Today, although just the short walk to school had made my hair stuck to the back of my neck. Mom always complained about how cold winters were in Michigan, but Michigan summers. I'm going to start that again. Mom always complained about how cold winters were in Michigan, but Michigan summers were no joke either. As I took my seat there, Haley Jones, who sat to my right, looked over. She was tall, with long, light brown hair. Her shorts were embroidered with roses. She frowned a little, but she did a lot whenever she looked at me, like I confused her or something. She didn't seem very bright. Maybe that's why she was in summer school. Since it was too humid to be outside today, we spent the class period doing worksheets about honeybees. Mev amused himself by peeking at other students' papers and declaring punishments like 5 minutes of me scratching a clipboard for wrong answers. I cringed, but at least he wasn't drawing any attention. At last the bell rang as the other students rushed to escape. Relief coursed through me. Then Haley Jones pointed at my sleeve. "Ew! Is that snot on your shirt?"